Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly, and today I have been tagged in the Febregency Tag by beautiful Minutia Tiffany, and I am very excited to do this. This is for a readathon that is hosted by Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space, The Bookish Princess, Ms. Richards Reads, and one other person, Tristan and the Classics. All right, so I am going to jump right into this. I do love the Regency era, so I'll be looking down at my notes a little bit and to read the prompts. So if I'm looking down, that is why. So the first prompt is name your top 3 Regency authors. Y'all, I just read Jane Austen, to be honest with you. I have not been widely read in the Regency era. I can say Mary Shelley, maybe, even though, you know, there's like that one book, Frankenstein, that I love that she wrote, but I'm just a Jane Austen nerd, and I feel now convicted and compelled to get into some other Regency authors. The second prompt is name your top 3 Regency poets. I love really all the poets from the Regency period. I think they are all fantastic that I have read, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go with William Wordsworth. And I was thinking, you know, I need to, my kids and I do poetry tea time every Thursday. So I was thinking, let me get them some of these Regency poems for poetry tea time. So next Thursday, we're going to do William Wordsworth, and I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud is the poem we're going to do. I love that one. Have you guys read that one? Check it out. Get on Google afterwards and read that poem. And then John Keats is another poet I just love. And we're going to do Ode to the Psyche, which is also a very interesting. And I'll be very interested to hear my kids' take on this one. They're 9, 11, and 13. The older two are almost 12 and 14. So I'll be interested. The 9.5-year-old will probably be like, but I'll be interested to hear what the other two say. And then Lord Byron, of course, big time. Probably, I don't know if he's the most famous of the Regency poets, but we're going to do Don Juan the next week. So I've got poetry tea time picked out 3 weeks in a row now. I just have to figure out what treat to give them, because, you know, they are very happy to listen to me sit there and read poetry and try to analyze it with them if I give them a chocolate chip muffin or something. So, all right, the next prompt, number 3, is favorite historical event that happened during this time period in Britain or elsewhere. So like the Regency period, I believe, is 1811 to like 1820, although in my mind, I think of it almost from like the late 1700s to like when we don't have the Empire Waste anymore in my mind, but it's really a very short period of time. So I'm going to have to say the Battle of Waterloo, when we finally got that jerk Napoleon humbled. And I mean, he is a trip. I mean, he was a trip. Thank God he's no longer with us. But, you know, just tyrannical ruler. I mean, just so glad that he finally was humbled. The next, and of course there were so many things that went on in that short period of time. We had like the War of 1812 in America. Tiffany, I still haven't watched Dia's tag, but Tia mentioned that Dia talked about the Second Great Awakening, which of course was very important time of history for those of faith. All right, so number 4, the year is 1816. It is a dark and stormy night on Lake Geneva. You're telling ghost stories with 3 legendary writers. Who are they? That's a little nod to Mary Shelley. Bonus points if they're Regency writers. Okay, hear me out. This just shows how darn eclectic I am. I'm going to say Ellen Montgomery. She's actually written some ghost stories, but you know, just the way her characters are such good storytellers, I think that would be fun. And of course, she's one of my favorite authors. And of course, Edgar Allan Poe. I think Tiffany might have talked about him too. I'm trying to remember. But I don't like really like graphic horror stuff. And he's relatively graphic, and there's something about him that I don't get grossed out. I'm just intrigued with what he wrote. You can analyze me. Tell me what's wrong with me that I love Poe, but there's just something about him I love. We did do The Raven for poetry tea time. That one is not as graphic. But then how about R.L. Stine, you know, the middle grade, like little kid horror writer? I think that it takes me back to the 1990s. That'd be fun. Okay, so the next one, number 5, the Regency era is named after the Regency of George, Prince of Wales, who ruled in the stead of his father, King George III, from 1811 to 1820. Oh, good. I did have those dates right. If you had to appoint a regent to rule in your booktube channel in your stead, who would it be? Okay. Tiffany said her too, but just because our reading overlaps so much, I think I would have Dia from Novel Idea and Courtney Reed's, just because I know the classics they would pick would be classics that I would read. But to round it out a little bit and bring a little bit of some of the other stuff that I read that they don't, not that they don't read it at all, but because I know that Dia reads quite a bit of middle grade too, I would bring in Talia from Bandana Book Mom and have her just talk about middle grade a lot, since I never shut up about middle grade. So I'm gonna, bend the rules, and I'm gonna have those 3 people, because I know that like they would probably run the show well, and they might do more things even more interesting than I would do them. So number 6, much literature of the Regency period is categorized as romantic. And I love like the romantic feel of everything that I've read that was written in that time. What word would you use to describe today's literature? Overtly sexualized. I think we are given to imagine things from the Regency era as a little bit sexy sometimes, but overt descriptions and images that sometimes subtlety would serve better is how I would describe that. And number 7, Shakespeare's plays were popular during the Regency. What artistic performance have you recently enjoyed? I am so glad that you asked, because my daughter and I just got free tickets last weekend to go see the ballet Giselle, which is my favorite ballet. And so this is about a village girl named Giselle, and the prince comes through, and she has a weak heart, and there is a lot of fun pantomime in classical ballet. If you dance, you will die, is what her mother said. And the prince comes through in disguise, and then there's like a hunter that's in love with her, and it's a very overly dramatic. I love overly dramatic a lot more in ballet than I do in real life or even in my literature. And so the prince actually has been, he has an arranged marriage, and Giselle finds out about this, and she goes crazy, a little nuts. So she goes from her hair in a beautiful bun to down, and she does that "I'm losing my mind" dance, and then she drops dead, and she becomes a willy. And so the willies, they are like so beautifully dressed in white. Some of them have veils on, and there's smoky mist and this, that too. And the queen of the willies, Martha, she's like trying, all the men that come through, these are all jilted women, by the way, that turn into willies. And the prince comes through, and she tries to kill the prince, and Giselle saves his life. And I love the music. Adolphe Adam is the composer of Giselle. So if you ever get a chance to go see the ballet, go see it. It's really good. All right, so next prompt. Number 8, the Regency period was characterized by high fashion. What is the current fashion or trend in the book community that you adore or detest? And I had a really hard time with this one, because I don't like to put down something that someone else just loves. I feel like this is something that people love for their own reasons. But I would say just in my personal opinion, I feel like erotic books can be harmful. It causes like a false sense of things, especially since it's a lot of times very young people who get into these. And so they seem to be gaining popularity. And just in my opinion, I think that they can't, I really do think that they can be harmful, but I think that, you know, it's better to not read and put all those very, very vivid images in your mind when you're a young person. All right. 9. Jane Austen's novel shows the importance of etiquette in the drawing rooms of Regency, England. Tell us about your personal rating system. I do not have one. I have a very loose one that I use when I have to do an arc, or I have a friend that's published a book and I need to put a review on like Goodreads and Amazon and everything. But in that case, I very rarely will pick something that I don't think I'm gonna love. So very rarely does anything go below 3. 3 is like, it was okay, you know, but I didn't love it. 4 was, yeah, pretty good. And 5 is like, wow, outstanding. But I just do not use a star system. I hate assigning things like that to art. That's why I don't really like dance competitions. I don't like assigning a number to someone's artistic work. So that's why I don't really use one. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for tagging me again, and check out the channels of the people that are hosting Febregency and read a lot. Bye-bye. Just kidding. I forgot to tag anybody. So Dia and Tiffany, you tagged everybody that I know that reads Regency books, that I know for sure. So I'm just going to go off of, okay, I know that Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers is very well read. So I'm going to tag her. If you don't want to do it, Nicole, it's okay. But I figured she might have some good answers to this. I'm going to tag, because I know she reads historical fiction from this era. At least I think I've heard her talk about it on her channel. Girl, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. I'm going to tag book lover Amanda. Do you have answers to these? And then Chrissy reads Jane Austen. So I don't know if you read anything else from the Regency era, but I'm going to tag Chrissy from Chrissy's Purple Library. Okay, now you guys can go read a lot. Thanks. Bye-bye.